There are three things you don't mess with in our little town. You don't tamper with the Friday chili cook-off. You don't trample through Old Man Carter's corn maze before it's ready. And you sure as hell don't open the Miller family barn without an NVY tattoo on. Especially not when Grandpa Tom's had his black coffee, loaded his .22, and is halfway through reciting the Constitution to the cows like it's Sunday sermon. But the HOA patrol? They didn't get the memo. It was a Wednesday morning, 8:42 a.m., the air heavy with the promise of rain and trouble. I was out back, live-streaming a yoga session with our ghost and judge. They're great at downward dog when I spotted Karen from the HOA and her sidekick, Carl, creeping across our gravel driveway like raccoons in polo shirts. They wore matching Sunset Pines Community Oversight Committee logos, which was a laugh, considering the subby VY Shown hadn't seen a proper sunset since the Wilson family tore down the old oaks for better VY stability. Karen squinted at the barn like it was hiding her missing tax refund. I called out, phone still rolling, no trespassing, y'all. Carl flashed me a smile you'd give a kid with a lollipop or a chainsaw. Just checking a code compliance issue, he said, stepping right over the sign Grandpa Tom nailed up in 93. Private property. Enter and meet Jesus. He's got questions. That's when the world tilted. Grandpa Tom appeared from behind the tractor, like some war-weathered phantom, decked in army fatigues, chewing an unlit cigar he's been quitting since Clinton was in office. He didn't shout, didn't wave a gun. He just strolled to the barn door, gave it a slow once-over, and shut it with a clang that echoed like a gavel. Then he dropped the iron latch and spun the padlock shut, calm as locking up after supper. Inside, Karen and Carl's voices went from muffled complaints to full-on yells. Carl pounded the door, hollering about the HOA charter like it was the Magna Carta. Grandpa turned to me, eyes steady as steel. "Lila," called the sheriff. "I just detained 2 armed bureaucrats without probable cause." I blinked. "Armed?" "Spiritually," he said deadpan. By the time Sheriff Ben rolled up in his dusty SUV, the neighborhood was buzzing like a hornet's nest on Red Bull. Mrs. Larson from down the road was filming on her iPad. 2 kids on bikes shouted, "Barn Heist 2025," and the cows just stared, chewing like they'd seen it all before. Sheriff Ben climbed out, rubbing his temples. This was a guy who once settled a feud over a rogue rooster and a runaway bounce house. But even he looked out of his depth. "What the hell, Tom?" he said. "Prevented an unlawful search and seizure," Grandpa replied, arms crossed like a Lee VY-ing monument to the Fourth Amendment. "They're HOA, not FBI," Ben said. "Same thing without a warrant," Grandpa shot back. Then something banged inside the bar, not a fist, not a foot, but something heavy like a toolbox hitting the floor. Everyone froze. Even the cows stopped chewing. "There's something in there." Karen screamed from inside. "It moved." Grandpa didn't flinch. "Then maybe y'all shouldn't have gone in." This wasn't our first tango with the HOA. They've been gunning for us since Grandpa Tom rigged solar panels with old World War II radio towers he borrowed from a scrap base. They hated his flagpole, too tall, his chickens too loud, his wind chimes, apparently they caused existential dread. But the barn? That was their white whale. Nobody got inside except Grandpa, me, and one spook FedEx guy who quit talking after his delivery. Even I'd only seen the front room 3 padlocks, lead-lined walls, and a single light Grandpa only flipped on after scanning the sky. "Ain't paranoia if they tested weather machines in the 70s, he told me once, half serious. Sheriff Ben scratched his neck. "Open the door, Tom." "I will," Grandpa said, "once I finish my coffee and you tell me what law these HOA clowns thought they were enforcing." From inside, Carl's voice cracked. "There's stairs going down. What is this place?" Karen chimed in. "There's something under a tarp." Grandpa's eye twitched, just a flicker. Ben stepped back. "What's under the tarp, Tom?" "You don't want to know." "I think I do." "No," Grandpa said, voice low. "You think you should." Big difference. That's when I did something dumber than a bag of hammers. I snuck to the side of the barn, phone in hand, and opened TikTok. It felt like history, like I was teetering on the edge of a secret that had been festering in hay and silence for decades. I angled my phone through a knothole. It was dark, but I caught Carl staring at a long, metal shape under a beige tarp. Karen's phone flashlight lit her wide eyes. "I think it's as she started." Then the tarp moved. Not a breeze, not a trick. It slithered like it was alive. Karen screamed. Carl tripped over a bucket, crashing down with a thud. My feed cut to black as my phone exploded with notifications. HOA officers uncover area 51 in barn. Get locked inside was catnip for the internet. Outside, Sheriff Ben had gone pale. Grandpa sipped his coffee, cool as a cucumber. Y'all should mind your own business. Then the air above the barn shimmered like heat waves, but wrong, like the sky was holding its breath. A flicker of something made my gut scream. You weren't supposed to see that. Lila, Grandpa said softly, unplug the weather vane. The what? The one with the red light. You know it. I did. It hadn't blinked in years. Why? He looked at me. Same GRAVY tie as his war stories. If that signal goes out, they'll come looking. For the first time, I saw it. Grandpa wasn't just quirky. He was hiding something big, and the HOA had just kicked the hornet's nest. The barn went quiet too quiet, the kind that makes your teeth itch. Sheriff Ben stood 5 feet from the locked door, hand near his holster, but not on it. Grandpa leaned against a fence post, sipping coffee like it was just another day. But it wasn't. Something in that barn had moved, maybe breathed, and 2 HOA busybodies were trapped with it, alongside a Cold War secret Grandpa had buried deeper than his regrets. My phone wouldn't quit buzzing. That blurry clip of Carl shrieking and the Tarpamo VYing had gone VY-rel. The barn gate was trending. People called it a prank, performance art, or a military android hideout. One guy in Nevada offered to buy the barn for a paranormal Airbnb. Grandpa glanced at my phone and muttered, only thing more dangerous than secrets is folks trying to cash in on him. Inside, someone knocked. Ben hesitated, then called, Y'all okay? Carl shouted, No. There's something down here. We found a trapdoor, went downstairs, and now the lights are flickering and the floor's humming. Karen added, I might have touched something I shouldn't have. Grandpa's head snapped up. What did you touch? I don't know. Looked like a control panel. Thought it was a fuse box. Grandpa cursed under his breath. They powered it up. Ben blinked. Powered what? The vault, Grandpa said. I never told anyone because I didn't think anyone be dumb enough to break into a classified prototype bunker built by 2 paranoid brothers and too much army surplus. You have a bunker? Ben asked. Grandpa said, till the HOA turned it into a problem. I didn't know whether to be mad he kept this from me or terrified we were about to be swarmed by feds or worse. Grandpa put a hand on my shoulder. If this goes south, grab the red folder under the kitchen sink and head to the Larsons. They got a radio that still works. That's weirdly specific, I said. So's the trouble coming, he replied. More neighbors showed up, pulling out lawn chairs like it was a barbecue. Deborah Wilson rolled in, all designer boots and indignation, pointing a manicured finger at Grandpa. You're harboring illegal structures, detaining committee members, and endangering the subby VY Shown. Grandpa stared like she'd sprouted horns. And you broke federal trespassing laws, messed with restricted tech, and woke something I've been letting die quietly. Deborah marched toward the barn, but Ben blocked her. Nobody goes in. I have every right. You have the right to stay quiet, Ben snapped, and wait while I figure out what your HOA idiots activated. The high-pitched whine cut through like a jet engine waking up. The barn's metal siding trembled. Lights flickered on the weather vane, even though I'd unplugged it. Grandpa's eyes flicked to me. Did you pull the backup battery? What battery? Under the fake feed bin. I didn't ask. I ran. The barn doors glowed faintly at the edges, the whine settling into a steady, menacing hum. Some neighbors backed off, others crept closer. Mrs. Larson filmed, clutching her dog like a shield. I found a feed bin, yanked out a car battery-sized tech block, and ripped the cables free. The hum died. The glow faded. Silence. Then Karen screamed along, rising wail, like she'd seen the VY-L himself. Ben fumbled the padlock open. Karen and Carl stumbled out, pale and shaking. Karen collapsed in the grass. Carl looked like he'd seen a ghost DRIVYing a tank. There's a chamber, he gasped, downstairs. Monitors, wires, a tank. A cryo tank. Grandpa exhaled, eyes closed. Ben's voice was tight. What's in the tank? Carl glanced at Grandpa, then me. You won't believe it. Try us. A man. Frozen. Alive. Dead silence. Even the wind held its breath. Deborah's mouth flapped like a fish. Grandpa said nothing, just walked into the barn and vanished downstairs. Ben turned to me. Lila, anything you know that could help? I shook my head. Just that Grandpa's been saying for years the government tried to erase his brother. Everyone thought he was nuts. Maybe they were wrong. Deborah found her voice. I demand access. That barn's under Sunset Pines rules. Ben wheeled on her. Lady, I'll arrest you for obstruction if you mention compliance again while I'm dealing with what might be an illegal cryo facility. The barn lights flickered. Grandpa reappeared. He's still alive, he said. Vitals stable. Same as the day I put him in. You put him in? Ben asked. Grandpa's eyes held a deep sadness. Had no choice. He knew dangerous things. They were going to disappear him. So we did it our way. He looked at me. Now I need your help, Lila, to tell the world the truth. The sun was barely up when the first black SUV rolled in. No tags. No dust, just matte paint and tinted windows. 3 more followed, circling our property like vultures. Nobody got out, just sat there, engines humming. Sheriff Ben had cleared the street, suggesting folks sit cousins out of town. I stood on the porch, phone buzzing with notifications. My stream had hit 5 million VYUs. People thought it was a hoax, a sci-fi reboot. They didn't know the truth under our barn wasn't CGI, was blood, sacrifice, and secrets too heavy for silence. Grandpa stepped out, holding cold coffee, staring at the SUVs like an old enemy. His jaw tightened, shoulders sagging under 50 years of weight. Without a word, he headed to the barn. I followed. The cryo chamber's glass had thawed enough to show a face bale, frozen in time. He looked like Grandpa, but younger. His twin, James. They're not here for the HOA, Grandpa said. They're here for him. They know who he is. Who? James was in a Cold War Project Remote Data Harvesting, BHAV oral prediction, called Project Loom. He figured out what they were doing. Try to go public. They tried to erase him. So you froze him? We preserved the truth. Boots crunched gravel upstairs. Ben met them at the drive, hand on his hip, but not his gun. The lead agent gray suit, eyes like knives spoke. We're here for Thomas Miller. Gonna need specifics, Ben said. Got you off now. We have jurisdiction. Over a barn? Ben smirked. Show me papers. There won't be papers. Then there's no cooperation. I watched through a barn slat, heart pounding. These weren't feds, they moved like predators. Grandpa was right. They were here to clean up. They didn't wait. 2 flanked the barn. 1 headed for the door. Grandpa stepped out. 1 more step. I assume hostile intent. The agent kept coming. You're harboring stolen federal assets. That cryo unit's government property. That's my brother, Grandpa said. He's a witness, not property. Not anymore. I stepped out, phone recording mic pinned to my shirt. Actually, he is. And this streams live to 7 million, including journalists and a conspiracy subreddit that hasn't slept since '08. Any move you make gets broadcast, archived. Take that tank. You're not just stealing a Monuri erasing EVY Denke. Obstruction, kidnapping, maybe murder, depending on your plans. The agent hesitated just enough. You're bluffing. I held up my phone. Go ahead. Blink. They backed off, but not far, regrouping by the SUVs, waiting for orders or worse. Ben, Grandpa, and I stood like a line in the dirt. Deborah showed up again, VYing papers. As HOA president, Deborah, Ben growled, 1 more word, and I arrest you for reckless stupidity. She shut up. The barn hummed again. Monitors flared. James's VY towels climbed. His eyes fluttered. He's waking, I whispered. Grandpa nodded. 5 minutes, maybe less. Then what? They'll do anything to stop him talking. He slipped me a memory stick. If I don't make it, get this to someone who cares. Names, timelines, tapes James's EVY Denke. The truth, Lila. The kind that gets folks killed. I won't let anything happen to you. Don't promise that. Promise you'll finish the story. James's eyes opened slow. No drama. Just a man waking from a decades-long nap. He saw Grandpa, saw me. His lips moved. I swear he mouthed run, but we didn't. We held the line. Some truths, once awake, don't go back to sleep. Not without a fight. So what do you think? Was Grandpa Tom a hero protecting his brother, or a paranoid man hiding a dangerous secret? Is the government covering up Project Loom, or is this just a wild story spun out of control? Should Lila keep streaming, risking everything, or destroy the memory stick and walk away? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if this got your heart racing, and subscribe for more stories that'll keep you up at night. What's the truth worth to you?